One of the things that keep us engaged at Autodesk, besides our very strong mission of empowering creators, my experience hiring and working with remote diverse teams is that it just brings another element of creativity. We have presence in almost all the world. So we are, even before COVID, right? We were already working with very diverse, globally distributed teams. Do you know how to code? But that's not the defining factor. And it's across Autodesk, this idea, right? First, we hire for culture fit. You sit down and you plan based on what are the culture codes that I need in my team to make the team complete. That's the first thing. The secondary thing is what are the technical requirements that we need.
Good morning. So, if you want to get Damian's attention, you would want to talk to him about data, AI, machine learning, and product management. He is obsessed about entrepreneurship and product launch. He is working with a company that is growing and it's growing fast. The company has acquired over 70 plus organizations, recently got a new chief people officer who is taking the company to even further places. Let's welcome Damian on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where he will tell us about his experience, what he's learned, and how we can learn from his learnings. Hi, Damian. How are you doing today?
Hey, Manal, very nice to meet you. I'm
Of
good.
course. So, Damian, can you tell us about your experience, where you work, and what your role is within the company?
Yeah, of course. Damian Ofarril, I am the Director of Revenue Data Science for Autodesk. Autodesk, it's a 30-something years old organization. As you said, we've grown a lot through acquisitions, but we are often recognized by one of our flagship products called AutoCAD, one of the largest products out there for CAD software. We work in several industries, manufacturing, construction, media and entertainment. With our recent acquisitions, Innovi specifically, we have a lot of water industry as well. So it's a fascinating place to work with a lot of dynamic changes in the market and with a lot of needs also for good talent across the board.
Okay. I think I'd be curious to know. So, Autodesk, I've seen a lot of its acquisitions have been around diversity and inclusion. So, why is diversity and inclusion so important to Autodesk? I mean, can you touch more about that?
Yeah, Autodesk is an incredible place to work because one of the things that keep us engaged at Autodesk, besides our very strong mission of empowering creators, is the approach that we have towards being open, our values and the culture that we have internally. They allow us for this type of behaviors, positive behaviors. Um, Andrew is Anagnos, our CEO, is very open about the way he thinks about diversity and inclusion. We've gone through a long journey making sure that we have this sprints of diversity and inclusion internally at Autodesk. And my experience hiring and working with remote diverse teams is that it just brings another element of creativity, a different element of way to interact with different cultures, right? And specifically in the type of work that my team does and the data science, machine learning, having diversity is also so important to make sure that we're not biased in just one conception of the world. It just, from the real world to the machine learning world, I think the same thing applies. The more diverse we can think about, the less focus we're going to be in just one idea. It helps us to think outside the box. So Autodesk excels at that too. As you see, a lot of our products are for people that are creating things that you say, well, that thing that was created with Autodesk actually was used in a rocket ship. It's actually things that we are building to send people to space. I don't think that would be possible without an approach of diversity and inclusion.
No, I think I love that. I think different cultures, different people challenge our preconceived ideas and notions about certain things. And it's usually when people are challenging you, you are forced to think out of the box and come up with even more innovative ideas. So I love that. And I love that Autodesk actually lives by its motto, which is that it's been acquiring a lot of diversity and inclusive businesses, helping, like, has a diverse work field. I've seen that most of the people are equally distributed across the whole world. So can you tell us about how it's like working with such a remote team in different parts of the world, Damian?
Yeah, that's so important. And regarding to just hire practices, right? Thinking about hiring around the world has so much to do with how we think about sourcing talent, about growing our organization, because we have presence in almost all the world. So we are, even before COVID, right? We were already working with uh, very diverse, globally distributed teams. So the change from a non-COVID world to a COVID world, yeah, it was an impact to all of us, but to a certain extent, the way I see it in the way my team operates and the way my hiring practices were, actually instead of closing the world, it just allowed us from the HR perspective, from the leader's perspective, from the auditor's perspective to actually open the world more and think, oh, you know, we can start hiring the very diverse regions that we've never thought about hiring before. Now it's an opportunity for us to get better talent with diverse backgrounds, with different cultures that can enrich our environment even more.
No, no, I absolutely love that. And I was impressed that Autodesk, even before the pandemic, was equipped to make sure that the transition was smooth. So it's definitely inspiring to see that a company like Autodesk understands that talent should not be constrained by its geographical barriers, but instead people should be allowed to work wherever they want to, just because it's the ideas, it's what they bring to the table, what is what matters. So thank you for sharing that, Damien. My next question for you, Damien, would be, is your company hiring? I mean, you did touch upon that your company is growing, but would love to understand what kind of people do you want to be a part of your company? What kind of skills, characteristics makes a candidate stand out when they're applying for companies like Autodesk?
Yeah. Look, we the practices that we have at Autodesk for hiring are one of the top ways in which I've seen companies hire. We hire based on Autodesk code of culture. Yes, there are technical roles which requires technical skill sets, right? Especially, the type of work that my team does and the data science, machine learning aspect. Of course, we're going to go through a technical hard skills. Do you know how to code? But that's not the defining factor. And it's across Autodesk, this idea, right? First, we hire for culture fit. And I know that this idea is surfaced through a lot of companies, but I haven't experienced it as much as I experienced it here, in which truly when we get together with our HR team, the plan that they set for us alongside our different rounds of recruiting is, who are you going to assign to which value? So when we sit down as a committee to say, hey, this is a good candidate to move forward, what we are actually asking is, does this person fit the cultural values that we're trying to grow within the company? One of the values is diversity. One of the values is courage. So as a hiring manager, you sit down and you plan based on what are the culture codes that I need in my team to make the team complete. That's first thing. The secondary thing is, what are the technical requirements that we need?
Okay. I think that's no, I mean, I think it's always a trickle down effect, right? If the people at the hierarchy usually embody the values and culture a company represents, they will bring in people that will embody similar values, similar culture, because at the end of the day, the candidate needs to choose the company for themselves as well. And the company needs to choose the candidate as well. So it's like a relationship. You need to understand that you guys will fit in together, and then you can take the step forward. So thank you for sharing that. And I can definitely see how you are passionate about the culture and the company itself. So it's very inspiring to see that some companies are all about employees and making sure that they're happy. So thank you for sharing that. Last question, Damian. Is your team hiring? You have a very niche skilled team, which is specifically all about machine learning. Would love to understand if you have certain openings within your team currently.
Yeah. Well, right now, my team is not hiring. I am not hiring. I've been lucky because we haven't had a lot of turnover during COVID. The main thing that I hear from my team is that we're doing such interesting work, and we're really putting ourselves in the forefront of what machine learning can do and our data products out there. That COVID was a dose of reality for all of us, right? I think that a lot of people are trying to rethink, well, after COVID, what do I do? I am super lucky to have a team that is just phenomenal at what they do. They love the projects that they're involved with, and currently I don't have any openings in my team. Autodesk as a whole, have a lot of opportunities within the product teams, within our sales organization, and within our customer success organization, which is one of the best in the world. So customer success is growing a lot.
Okay. Well, Davian, I think any as in like I can see how passionate you're about the company. So people who are working under you would love to work under you, just because if the leader is inspired, if the leader is passionate about the company, people who will be working under you will automatically be excited, just because I can see how passionate you are about data, about machine learning. So thank you so much for sharing that, Damien. But other than that, Damien, we love to keep things short. Our time is up. It was a pleasure learning about you, about your wonderful company, how passionate you are about working at Autodesk, and how your company embodies the values that it presents, especially when it's looking for people to bring on board as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manal. Appreciate the time.